Whispers in the dark. The storm outside raged violently, rattling the old windows of the farmhouse where Sarah found herself stranded. Her car had broken down miles back, and with no cell signal in the remote countryside, she had no choice but to seek shelter for the night. The house, with its creaking wooden floors and peeling wallpaper, seemed long abandoned. But it wasn't the dilapidated state of the place that unnerved her. It was the feeling that she wasn't alone. A single lantern flickered dimly in the corner, casting long twisted shadows along the walls. Sarah's heartbeat quickened as she thought she heard faint whispers, too low to make out, but persistent, as if someone or something was hiding just beyond the reach of the light. Suddenly, a loud thump echoed from upstairs, her breath caught in her throat. She stood frozen, her eyes fixed on the staircase, waiting for another sound. The house fell silent again, the only noise being the howling wind outside. Perhaps it was just the storm, she told herself, trying to shake off the chill, crawling up her spine. But deep down, she knew better. Summoning her courage, Sarah cautiously made her way toward the stairs, each step groaning under her weight. As she reached the top, she noticed an old wooden door at the end of the hallway, slightly ajar. A faint glow emanated from the crack, casting a sliver of light onto the floor. She hesitated, her hand hovering over the doorknob. The whispers grew louder now, almost discernible, but still elusive. She pushed the door open, revealing a room bathed in an eerie yellow glow. The room was bare, save for a single object in the center, a large, ornate mirror. Its glass surface shimmered unnaturally, as if something was alive within it. Sarah approached cautiously, her reflection staring back at her. But something was wrong. Her reflection smiled. Sarah recoiled in terror. Her face was still, emotionless, but the reflection wore a sinister grin, eyes gleaming with malice. She turned to flee, but her legs felt like lead, the air around her thickening with dread. The whispers were all around her now, circling her like predators waiting to strike. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her. The mirror began to pulse, each wave of light accompanied by a low, guttural sound. Sarah's reflection moved on its own, stepping closer to the glass until it pressed its hand against the surface. As it did, the glass rippled like water, and the reflection began to step through. "No!" Sarah screamed, scrambling backward, her mind racing for a way out. She pounded on the door, but it wouldn't budge. The reflection, now free from the mirror, stood before her, identical in appearance, but filled with something inhuman, something ancient and evil. The reflection tilted its head, studying her with cold amusement. "You shouldn't have come here," it whispered. The same voice that had haunted her since she entered the house. Sarah backed into a corner, her hands trembling. The figure stepped closer, its form flickering like a bad signal, growing darker and more distorted with each passing second. In the dim light, Sarah saw its eyes. They weren't hers anymore. They were empty, black voids, hungry and soulless. "You took my place," it said, the voice no longer a whisper, but a guttural growl. "Now! I take yours!" With a final terrified scream, Sarah felt a cold hand close around her throat, pulling her toward the mirror. The glass rippled once more as the world around her spun into darkness. The last thing she saw was her reflection, smiling, watching as it turned and walked away. The next morning, when the storm had cleared, the farmhouse stood as silent and abandoned as ever. But if you dared to look closely into the windows, you might just see a face staring back. A woman, trapped inside a world of glass, her silent screams forever unheard. And every night, she waits for someone new to enter the house, someone to take her place.